Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. And it's amazing to me that superstars like Sasha Banks, AJ Styles, and Natalia have all been taking part in those real cost of smoking commercials to get us all not to smoke. Because if anything would ever make me want a cigarette, it is a lackluster episode of Monday Night Raw. Honestly, maybe only one or two things on this show really offended me, but other than that, this show was boring, had no life to it to me for the most part, had no gravity to anything. And yeah, if this is the penultimate episode of Raw before Mania, do better. Partner, what'd you think?
I don't know about you, John, but on a personal note, this Raw actually made me really excited. Specifically, it made me really excited for the post-WrestleMania Raw because I know we're live reacting to that, and then we're done reviewing Raws after that.
Dude, I'm so glad you said it because I don't want to be a dick, but if this Raw instills in me anything, it is gratitude that we are taking the reins of our content. And, speaking of reins, we'll have plenty to say about that tonight, I'm sure. And really just deciding to axe it from our programming after WrestleMania because.
Well, because the thing is, listen, guys, I know that Raw is something that you like hearing our thoughts on because you like hearing us shit on it. But at the same time, I mean, first of all, as fun as it might be to go on rants, it gets boring ranting about the same shit every single week because we rant about it every week and they never change it. But on top of that, us reviewing Raw makes it a requirement that we then watch Raw. And that is really the heart of the problem because we're bored with Raw. We don't want to keep watching it. And, I mean, if there is a good Raw, we'll still end up reviewing it because, that's the point of us not reviewing all the Raws is so that when we do decide to review one, it's because it was actually entertaining. But still, Raw has... And then the crazy thing, too, is, I know a lot of people say, well, if you're a wrestling YouTuber, you have to review Raw because that's what everyone's going to go view. That's where all your numbers are going to come from. That's how you're going to get them sweet, sweet views. But if you literally just look at our content, our Raw reviews are the least viewed videos on our channel.
Which tells me that not only are we sick of it, you guys are sick of it. And to the people that have been with us from the beginning, do you remember what our message was? That we love being positive. Because any podcast, and you see any and every podcast, it's easier to destroy than it is to create. That is the maxim that TWitWoW embraced from the beginning. And I want to come up here and talk about the beauty of professional wrestling. That's why I love when we talk about New Japan. I love when we talk about Lucha Underground. And I love that most recently, these past few weeks, we have been live reacting to SmackDown Live because that is good quality wrestling. Raw isn't doing it for us. According to these videos, it's not doing it for you guys either because you want us to hear us be positive. You want to hear us be excited. And I want to hear us be that too. So, yeah, the quicker we put these Raws in the dustbin, the better, because they are not worth our time for sure.
And you know what? I'm going to add on to that. John, if you want, I don't know if you'd be interested in this, but if you want, we can start kind of treating SmackDown after WrestleMania the way we treat Lucha, where we do a live reaction and a review afterwards.
I wouldn't mind that at all. Absolutely. Because I know a lot of people in chat will ask, oh, now can we get a review on top of this? I guess because they want our more collected substantive thoughts. I have no qualms with that because
honestly, I think the only thing really kind of holding me back from wanting to do that is 205 Live and Talking Smack, which I know people will probably be more interested in watching live than a SmackDown review.
Right.
But anyway, that's for us to figure out behind the scenes, guys. The only reason that we're straying off topic and talking about SmackDown is because we needed something interesting to talk about because this Raw was trash.
It really was. In fact, I mean, let's just get right into it. First segment, heat of the night. And, here's the thing. I don't really know how to articulate this heat of the night without sounding very broad. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, that's how I'll be specific, are the dumbest champions I have seen in some time. Literally, dude, I don't know if you saw my tweet. I tweeted out my notes because they were so succinct. I said the same thing. For the 2-on-4 handicap match, my notes were, quote, Anderson and Gallows are the dumbest champions in history, and that match was pointless. Do you know, because they were even saying it recently, I feel like, on Bring It to the Table, which I actually don't know why I wanted to give myself cancer, and surprisingly it was better than episode 1, still a shitty show, but, you know, they were talking about Roman Reigns, and it's like, oh, if a person gets a reaction, you know, and you want to see him get beat, that's what matters. No, I think that matters most for heels, which brings me to my point. You know, Gallows and Anderson, I know not every heel can be the heel like, oh, I want to see him get beat because they're just that good. But when you're a title
But that's what the heel is supposed to be.
I mean, that's what the heel is supposed to be, but I'm saying like lower card heels because you know they're supposed to be a joke. But Gallows and Anderson are title holders. So you'd think that them holding those titles, that kind of shows the merit that they have as heels. Oh, they've got to be this really great tag team that know what they're doing in there and this and that. And that's true. That's true that they do if you look at their work in New Japan or anywhere else. But the booking in WWE, they look like goddamn idiots. It takes Michael fucking Cole. And this is not me pissing on Michael Cole because he's absolutely right. He asked openly on commentary, why are they attacking Enzo and Cass? Do they want a triple threat at Mania? And then Corey Graves, bless his heart, has to come in with the weak ass explanation. Oh, they just want exposure on themselves. They want the spotlight on themselves. Here's an idea. When you take care of the opposition of Sheamus and Cesaro, that leaves it being a standard tag team match, which means 50% of the spotlight will be on you at WrestleMania instead of
I know, right? Like
30%.
you're losing pie. Like you went from a 50% slice of the pie to a 33.33% chance slice of the pie.
And when I think about booking of champions just across all the WWE, and I narrow it to Raw, Neville has got to be the best booked champion on there for my money. Because say what you will about his heel character, yeah, I felt like his heel mannerisms in NXT were superior too. But here's the thing: he calls himself the king of the cruiserweights, and if we look at Fastlane and the Raw after, he proves it. He beat Jack Gallagher and Rich Swann in the span of 24 hours, both clean, for the title. Now, even though I don't care about Austin Aries, let me tell you something. When Austin Aries beats Neville for the title at Mania, if that happens, I mean, that's just kind of my assumption at this moment, but when we get to preview predictions, that may change. But if he does beat him, it's gonna mean something because Neville talks good shit and he backs it up. Meanwhile, the club, I feel like it's the opposite. They talk, oh, we're mean. We're all about being mean and making green. I wish that were true. I wish that were true. But you go out there and you do this dumb shit, and I laugh at you. I'm supposed to laugh at baby faces. That's the whole shtick of Johnny Scumbag, right? And yet I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I shouldn't laugh at Sami Zayn anymore. I shouldn't laugh at Zack Ryder anymore because, yeah, they're pathetic, but at least they're not stupid. At least they don't look at a potential.
I mean, John, to be fair, they do try, which makes them pretty dumb.
Yeah, I mean, they try, and it's pathetic and it's miserable, but my God, man. Like, they gave you the layup. You even had the realest guys that are booked, like, ridiculous, and you're like, nah, it's about us. That's really the hill you're going to die on? I just hate the stupid fucking booking, dude. It makes me lose complete interest. Now I don't care who they lose the titles to, because they're a joke. I'm sorry, that's honestly how I feel. After tonight, they're a joke. Why should I care? They clearly don't because they're putting themselves in jeopardy. It makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. And I could keep going about booking of champions, but I just wanted to focus on the club specifically. I'm going to hand the floor to you. Do you have any heats tonight?
Well, I mean, really, to be fair, I could probably make this entire show a heat of the night and just say, be less boring.
Yeah, totally, dude. Absolutely.
Because this whole show felt lifeless. Like, this is supposed to be, and that right there is what I mean when I say this gets me excited about not covering Raw post-Mania, because this is the best Raw gets. Raw is absolutely at its best during the road to WrestleMania. It's not going to get better after WrestleMania. The road to SummerSlam is a close second, but it rarely eclipses the road to Mania. And then post-SummerSlam, it's just screw all, absolutely nothing good happens. So this is the best that they can do. This is the peak of Raw quality, and it's trash.
Yeah. Dude, I couldn't have articulated it better. You are absolutely right. This show in some parts got me flat out angry, but for most of it, I'd say like 5 to 10% made me angry, and the rest of the pie, like the big chunk of it, I was just meh. I was really
honestly,
just meh.
I think the worst part is just how repetitive it is. It's, I've complained about, like, when, first of all, there's never any championship matches on Raw, and when there are, they always end in shenanigans, or it's a women's match and Charlotte loses to try and pop ratings.
To piggyback on what you said, because that was kind of another complaint that I wanted to levy against this show in this segment, let's look at SmackDown for a moment, right, with the AJ Shane storyline. Now, I know a lot of people have had a lot of things to say about the idea that this is happening, but I want to give them credit, because when AJ beat the shit out of Shane, Brian doesn't fuck with that shit. He's like, yeah, I'm going to fire you. Get out. Now, is there probably going to be a segment tomorrow night where Shane overrules Brian and he brings AJ back for the sole purpose of fighting him at Mania? Oh, absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
I'd count on it. But I at least...
I mean, honestly, they might not even do that tomorrow night. There might be a segment where Brian's like, AJ showed up and I asked him to go home and that he was still fired. And then they talk it out and they come to the agreement that they were going to have, maybe like give AJ a shot next week where he has to fight for his job and then goes against Shane at WrestleMania. Like, that's just the kind of booking I feel like SmackDown is more kind of in favor of. Like, they tend to really make their characters earn anything that they get rather than just handing it to them, with the only exception being John freaking Cena, because, recognize.
And dude, like, I give them the credit of... because on Raw, if the conversation would have been, oh, what are you going to do, fire me? It probably would have been like, oh, no, that's not best for business. Instead, you're going to face this person. So, in other words, I'm doing my job. So I give SmackDown credit for breaking it up. Why I bring that up? On Raw tonight, there were at least two, I think there were more than this, but there are two that I want to focus on. Two moments where I'm like, you could have done something really different and interesting, and you could have gotten me hooked. First thing, opening segment, right? You have Mick doing the note cards, all that stuff. Ultimately, let's cut to the chase. He gets fired, right? And I'm sure we all saw that coming because we all know that Mick's going to be written off television. But then Sami comes out. And this is not me crapping on Sami Zayn, so Bullet Club versus The Shield can take a breath of relief because I'm not here to do that. I actually leaned forward in my chair. I'm like, oh shit, this is interesting. Sami's going to stand up for Mick. We have seen their relationship a little bit. Now, you'd think that Stephanie, being the maniacal person that she is, and she's never liked Sami, right? We know this in backstage segments. She's never liked Sami. Always had it out for him. You could have made, and I was hoping they would make, well, Sami, if you're that convinced that I'm a terrible person and that Mick is so good, you fight for his job tonight and your own. And you face Samoa Joe. If you lose, Mick is still gone and you're out of here. And Sami would have lost. It would have been a more competitive match than what we got, which is another thing that kind of disappointed me a little bit. But Mick would have gone out.
Dude, like, I mean, you talk about, like, the career versus title matches or whatever that kind of thing is. Like, those always end up being great. Like, you look at Ziggler versus Miz, career versus title. You look at Goldust versus Randy Orton a few years ago, where Goldust's and Cody Rhodes' careers were on the line. Like, those matches in WWE are allowed to be amazing, and they usually deliver.
Oh, dude, and why I say it, right? Two reasons why, actually three. Three reasons why I say it. One, you give Foley's departure some goddamn teeth, because I feel like there's no gravity to it. I don't care. Two, give Sami something. This is not Johnny Scumbag right now. This is John that loves wrestling and wants everybody to succeed. He's done fuck all since he's gotten there. Fuck all. He had a little flirtation with the Intercontinental title that he didn't even win. Wins the big battleground match with Kevin Owens, which again amounted to fuck all. Stop dicking him around. Because that is a babyface that I guarantee you put him against any heel in the company, he will fucking carry it. And he will slay it. Give him something. But no, we focus on Roman Reigns, which I'm not going to get into, but if you had done a career, like a double career Jeopardy kind of thing, your career, Sami and Mix, everybody would have fucking cared. Yep. Everybody. And then, the third reason why, you get Sami fired, he goes to SmackDown, because fuck does he need a change of scenery. You make it emotional when Mick says goodbye. You could have even had the little exchange that him and Sami would have backstage later. And he could have even gotten on a mic and said, Sami, it's up to you now, like, SmackDown's open. Go there, make your mark. You're gonna do better than me.
And you know what, dude? I think your idea of getting Sami fired and then going to SmackDown, you wouldn't even need to have him on TV at all tomorrow night or next week. He shows up at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal 2 weeks after being fired. He wins it last eliminating Strowman, and then he doesn't show up on Raw the following night, and then it's revealed he's on SmackDown.
Perfect. You just took my idea and you made it a million times better because it brings it back to the Sammy Braun story. Perfect. Perfect full circle ending that isn't that fucking hard to do. And I'm not even the biggest Sami Zayn fan, and everybody knows it. But I'm tired of looking at this guy pissing his talent away, wondering, well, I wonder when I'm going to get a storyline. It's never fucking coming. And I don't even say that maliciously. So,
well, no, dude, I mean, I don't know if you pay any attention to Meltzer whatsoever, and I don't intentionally, but when shit shows up on the front page of the Squared Circle subreddit, I'll check it out. And not necessarily this week, but I think like middle of last week, there was a report that Sami Zayn's quote-unquote push that I was unaware he was getting, but apparently he was getting pushed, is now over.
He was getting pushed? Is my first
apparently. And the reasoning was because Rollins is going to come back healthy and Balor is going to return, and that's going to get like Sami Zayn's like upper mid-card babyface role is going to be filled by one of those guys.
Well, that's just fan-fucking-tastic. A second point I wanted to bring up, because I could rant about the misuse of Sami Zayn all episode, I'm not even kidding. The Bayley interaction. Because I'm thinking, oh man, you know, this is great, because Stephanie has a line in there, you're going to have to earn it. Because she, again, has been calling out Bayley, even wanted her to vacate the title. And I'm thinking, okay, Stephanie, for once, you being a bitch could actually be interesting. You could really sink your teeth. And I'm thinking that she's going to make Bayley defend her title on both Raws before Mania to really earn her spot in that fatal four-way, because Stephanie has never bought her as champion. She's a paper tiger in the midst of a storm in Stephanie's eyes. But no, you're just going to have to face Nia Jax again, which in one way I get, right? It's heel 101, heels flock together, all that shit. But I think what bothers me, dude, and I can't let go because I'm just in that mood tonight, so maybe it's more on me than on Raw. Why is Nia getting another chance at bat when she ruined it for herself in the first place? She got disqualified last week.
Well, dude, I mean, the only kayfabe reason is because it's Stephanie McMahon. She can do what she wants, and she likes Nia and wants her to beat up everyone in the women's championship match.
Right, and you're absolutely right. And I can accept that for the sake of moving the narrative along, but, like, can we not do anything else? Like, it just angers me that Nia, because of her own, you know, whatever, she got overzealous, whatever you want to say about it, got herself disqualified. So this wasn't even the case of, oh, the heel got beat and is just like throwing a fit, or they even got screwed, because knowing Bayley, wouldn't have surprised me if Sasha came out there and caused a DQ, which, come to think of it, why wasn't that the story? So you can keep building the tension between Sasha and Bayley. But no, Nia's own efforts got her DQ'd, and she gets another freaking chance at bat. Again, I accept everything you're saying. You're not wrong. It's just, goddamn, people, can we fucking think? For 2
I think
seconds.
Really the problem at the core here is just that it felt like we dodged the Nia in WrestleMania women's match bullet, and then it turns out it was a magic bullet, and it curved back around and hit us anyway.
See, and I don't want to say necessarily that you're wrong, but I think you and I and everybody else was smart enough to see that it was coming. I just wish that it could have been something else than, oh, let's just redo it and do it again. Like, why couldn't Nia terrorize people, and maybe Stephanie, because she's a heel and because, you know, oh, I'm so much stronger than Mick or whatever, but then, like, she sees Nia and she cowers a little bit. But no, Stephanie can never be weak for anybody. Because if Nia had thrown a fan, then Stephanie would be like, all right, Nia, I like what I'm seeing, but go unleash it on those 3 women. I am going to add you to the Mania match. That would have even been more heelish, because Nia didn't even really have to earn it. But no, let's just do Nia and Bayley again. I don't like the lack of imagination. I hate it. And I saw it so much throughout this Raw, it drove me fucking nuts. It really did. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention. I don't think I have anything else to rant about. God, this show really drained me. Do you have anything else you want to levy complaints against?
Well, dude, there's so much. I mean, really, even just as early in the show as Stephanie verbally trying to bury Sami Zayn, and then yet again being proven right when he lost to Samoa Joe.
I don't understand it, dude. I really, again, the whole Sami Zayn.
You know how everyone always says, like, oh, well, John Cena and Triple H and The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, they're all like a tier above everyone else in WWE.
Right.
I think those people are forgetting to mention that Stephanie McMahon is a tier above everyone, even including them.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. And it is so infuriating.
Could you imagine if Stephanie got up in Brock Lesnar's face the way she gets up in, like, Sami Zayn's face?
And could you imagine if we lived in a world of WWE television where Brock would actually be permitted to F5 her? That would instantly make him a babyface for the rest of his career, however long he's staying.
Well, I mean, Roman speared her and he's still booed, but I definitely see where you're going.
I think with Brock it would work
and besides,
more, though.
That's another thing. Why is Roman allowed to break the no male on female violence rule at WrestleMania?
Because he's the pet project. We gotta get him over, guys. And that's another, and this would be the pickiest of nits, I'll admit. But since we're already getting all of our complaints out there, just letting it all hang out, I'm really not digging the passive-aggressive Roman Reigns. The guy that prefaces everything with all due respect. No! Don't put respect on it. You're saying that you want to see Taker lying on his back at Mania. Just say that. You don't have to preface it with, oh, well, I respect Taker and everything, but, like, no, passive-aggressive does nothing for me. Either commit to what you're saying or don't. Fuck's sake.
Well, that's not going to happen. As far as other heats of the night go, honestly, I can't even think of anything. Just in general, the whole show was just boring and uneventful. And like you said, it wasn't creative. Like your literal title is staff, like creative staff. Like you're not even capable of applying your job to an adjective and actually doing that in your job. So, the show just wasn't good. It was paint by numbers. I saw somebody in chat say that earlier, and I completely agree. It was very much just and this is the sad part, too, because this feels like something that I would say during football season, because it was very much let's just kind of coast until we get to the next big pay-per-view. And in this case, it just happens that the pay-per-view is WrestleMania. Like, what happened to them actually putting effort into building up WrestleMania? I feel like that just completely has died down between last year and this year now. Like, even last year, I feel like the road to WrestleMania was lame.
Dude, it's so uninspired. That's really all I'm going to say about it. It's so uninspired.
Oh, yeah, and that's another bit of news that came out recently is apparently the WrestleMania 34 main event is already in the books. Now, obviously, things can change, but as of right now, the WrestleMania 34 main event is Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar.
Oh my God! I thought Bullet Club vs. The Shield was just like shitting with me because I never got that.
No, that's straight from Meltzer. It's Brock versus Roman again. Personally, I thought that was going to happen at SummerSlam. Nope, they're saving it for Mania.
Wow, I actually put all my chips on Cena versus Reigns because
that's what I expected as well. But maybe they're keeping Cena on SmackDown.
Oh my God! Forget it. Forget it, because what am I going to say that hasn't already been said? And you and I just got done saying we're tired of repeating ourselves. I'm not repeating myself. This Raw doesn't deserve it. Fuck what they're doing. Just everything about it. Anything else you want to say before we get into the formal review?
Let's just get into it so that we can just rip this show apart from beginning to end.
Oh, I guarantee you, we'll be ripping it apart, and we'll be ripping it apart quickly. I'm not looking to dull over any of these segments. So we get into our Monday Night Raw review. We open with a recap of last week's firing segment, and then segment 1, Mick Foley is addressing the crowd.
With index cards, which aren't even actually index cards. It's just like halves of 8.5 by 11 paper.
And at first, like, he's pandering to the authority, like, oh, this opportunity that Stephanie and Triple H so graciously gave me. And I even put in my notes here that it was so funny to me that on one of the note cards, it said that the focus should be on WrestleMania and not the authority figures. I wish Raw approached their show that way. I wish the writers approached Raw that way. Because this still got 15 fucking minutes.
Honestly, dude, I feel like on SmackDown, you really have this sense of, like, what the big matches are and what is going to get, like, a lot of time at WrestleMania. Like, you can just look at that card and see, like, okay, Cena, Nikki, Miz, and Maurice is going to get at least 15 minutes. AJ Shane is going to have a good chunk of time. The world title match is going to get a good chunk of time. And if I had to guess, I would say that Ambrose Corbin is probably going to get a chunk of time. And the women's match is probably going to get at least like 12 minutes. So, like, those are like the big matches. Honestly, for Raw, I feel like I would have more viability, believability, interest in Roman versus Braun again than Roman versus Undertaker and Braun having literally nothing to do.
Braun is another one I could rant about, but I am suppressing it as much as I can.
I'm like, how do you have somebody? this is actually great timing. I was just discussing this with my mom before we got on here. Braun Strowman is a better candidate to be the next face of the WWE than Roman Reigns.
With how he's been booked, yeah, I'd believe it, seriously.
Strowman is bigger. Strowman is stronger. Strowman arguably has a better look for the wrestling business. Strowman is a better talker. Strowman is more charismatic. Strowman is more likable. Strowman is more entertaining in the ring, in my opinion. The only thing that I'll give Roman over Strowman is that Roman is undoubtedly more athletic.
Right. And even then, I feel like Braun has reserves of athleticism that would make him good enough for the role.
Well, and really, you don't need to be athletic to be the face of WWE. Just look at freaking Hogan.
Exactly.
Hogan wasn't athletic. Austin was a decent athlete, but post neck injury, he wasn't really that athletic at all. Cena is strong, but I wouldn't say Cena is necessarily athletic.
Right.
Like, you're not going to see John Cena, you know. I mean, have you seen the guy run? He runs like he has a stick shoved up his ass.
He really does.
And Braun also does, so that's another point for Braun being similar to Cena.
But, yeah, I mean, Foley's reading from the note cards, rips them up. It says, 31 years, no cards, I'm Mick freaking Foley. And I'm like, oh, my God, old man, just shut up. Nobody cares.
And then, dude, I loved, too, that he was in, like, this rebellious, like, I'm going off the script, guys, mode. And he was still trying to thank Stephanie and say he was grateful.
Yeah, like, dude, you really don't know how anger works, do you?
He was like screaming in his angry voice, I do appreciate it. Come on, Mick. How senile are you right now?
Oh, the way you asked that question put the biggest smile on my face all night. Well done. But then Stephanie comes out, and Stephanie being Stephanie...
ruins everything?
Just had to reiterate those points. You know, we so graciously gave you this, and the reason you have no cards is because you screw up everything, Mick. You can't be trusted.
Can't even remember. You know, she didn't say this, but I'm surprised she didn't say it. You can't even remember the name of the city you're in half the time. You have to write it on your hand.
Yeah, I mean, she's mentioned it before. I'm surprised she didn't mention it again. Then Sami Zayn comes out, and Sami... I don't even say this in the Scum Squad way. At least you tried. At least I thought they'd do something with you.
Dude, this was embarrassing for Sami Zayn. Like, I'm going to just call it right now. I'm calling my shot. You can call this dibs if you want. Sami Zayn is my low shot.
Did I have him? No, you know what? I think I had somebody else as my low shot, so it's fine. Yeah, you can have him.
Because, like, Sami was truly unapologetically pathetic in this segment.
Dude... You know when I say that Sami Zayn deserves better? Like, that's it. And he does. Sami
You're
Zayn
so right.
Better than and honestly, WWE, man, fuck you for ever making me say it. Just fuck you. But Sami, yeah, he's like, oh, well, you know, Stephanie, I'm not about doing the smart thing. I'm about doing the right thing. And I'm not even mocking his promo. Like, I actually...
Well, no, I mean, to be fair, he was super over when he did say that.
Yeah, like, the crowd was into it, and I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, my, we're doing this. We're doing something. Stephanie now, because she controls everything, she can go back to being the main puppeteer. Do it, Steph. Put Sami's job at risk because you never liked him, as was made explicitly clear in so many backstage fucking segments.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
No.
You mean like literally last week when the first name that she suggested Mick Fire was Sami Zayn?
Yes! And imagine that. Imagine fucking that. Oh my God, Raw. Oh my God. But no. Your punishment, Sami, is doing your job.
Your punishment is going against a guy that you've beaten before.
That's the same retarded shit when a champion who's heel says, well, you know what, tonight, I'm wrestling this match out of protest. Okay. Good luck with that. Green power, I guess. It's stupid. It's fucking stupid. And you know what, Stephanie? You're stupid. And I can say because you're not going to slap me in the fucking face. This whole Raw can polish my balls with its mouth. Fuck this Raw, man. I'm so fucking pissed. No, I'm a rare level of pissed, dude. But you know what? I'm gonna keep passing the ball back to you so I can cool down. So what did you think about all this bullshit?
Do you remember that one time on NXT when Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe fought to a draw, and Sami Zayn really basically won that match because it was him that did the move to Joe and then fell on top of him?
Right.
So your punishment is to face a guy that is at the very worst equal to you.
Exactly.
That's great. That's just wonderful. Like, yeah. Yes, Steph, that makes all the sense in the world. I'm sure you wouldn't want to put him against somebody that's going to obliterate him. That would be unfair.
And you know what? Do you even have anything else you
Stephanie
want to say about
decides
this?
it's more important to put on a quality match than to punish someone that she's putting in a match for the sake of punishing him.
Well, she really did take after her husband, really pulling that Triple H there. Anything else you want to say about this?
Dude, there's so much I want to say about this, but we don't have the time, so let's move on.
Yeah, we get Joe versus Zayn, and honestly, because we don't have the time, it was a good match.
It was a good match. It was like a hotly contested, like 3.75 star match between these guys. Sammy pulled out the frickin' through the turnbuckle DDT that he does, and it was only after like 10 minutes of relatively even back and forth that Joe decided that he had had enough of Sammy's shit, and he locked in the Coquina Clutch, and Sammy, like, half-heartedly, like, barely conscious, passed out, and actually tapped out.
Now, the two biggest notes of praise that I can give this match, one, I like the Coquina Clutch is being built up as this legit submission finish. Like once
it's kind of a relief that the Coquina Clutch didn't get banned because of Seth.
Right, yeah, I know, right? God damn it. But the other point is, yeah, again, Sammy goes in there, he sells his ass off, and through his body language and through his opposition, because I'm not saying Joe is, like, third rate. I mean, obviously Joe is top quality, but they tell a compelling story. Now, imagine how much more compelling that would be if that got the main event segment rather than Braun Roman, when we all knew how that was going to go, and the actual gravity and stakes involved. You know, just imagine, Raw, like the John Lennon song.
But John, how is anything but Braun Roman going to go on last when the final scene of Raw has to be the Roman Taker stare down?
I hate you so much, Raw. I hate you so much. But yeah, I mean, Zayn loses by pass out. Joe looks dominant. And you know what's so great about this? Because again, I'm just going to pack it all together. You know, because after this, we get a video package recapping Strowman Reigns, but then after that, we do get Mick saying his goodbyes, and I could have sworn I remember Mick telling Sammy, yeah, what you did, it was stupid, and I know things didn't go well, but I really appreciate it. Great job, Mick. Great job. The only one to really go out there and stand up for you. You're even saying, nah, bro, I gotta tell you, that was dumb as fuck what you did out there.
So the continued burial of Sami Zayn, though, because first he gets buried verbally on the mic by Steph. Then he gets buried physically in a match by Joe. Then he gets buried verbally again by someone that's supposed to like him, Mick Foley.
Yeah, and somebody that even said, I mean, gracious to the end, I know they say you're not supposed to meet your heroes, but I'm glad I met mine, Mick. That would have been a touching moment in the ring after a hardly contested battle for both of your careers. But no! Fucking standard ass shit, and then you dig your heels in Sammy. You know, Sammy, I appreciate you for trying and everything, but man, are you dumb as a post. That's great, Mick. That's great. All you could go fuck yourselves. Who else said goodbye to Mick? Oh, yeah, Sheamus and
Cesaro.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. If I'm Cesaro, I would have been giving Mick the death stare. I could have been world champion. I could have been a feud for Kevin Owens' Universal Championship, and you put me in a tag team with him? But no, we love you, Mick. We'll send you on your way out. I mean, Sheamus had a nice comical moment where he hugged way too aggressively, probably because he's thinking, oh, thank you, Mick. You know, since my pairing with the Authority didn't work out, I knew that they didn't like me, and I just thought I was never going to be on TV. So, yeah, I mean, if anybody should be grateful, it is Sheamus. Then Bayley. Hey,
oh,
you know,
yeah, plus, like, the Cruiserweights were there along the way, too.
That's right. The Cruiserweights, yeah, they all, like, shook hands.
He gave, like, a half-hearted hug to TJ Perkins.
And
Why were you laughing so hard at that?
not just the way you said it. I need to laugh at something, otherwise I'm gonna cry. I just need to keep laughing. It suppresses the pain.
That's understandable.
Then Bailey and Mick hug, and I'm like, I could really use a hug right now. And then Mick sees Triple H, and Triple H is like, have a nice day, and Mick leaves. So, great job there using the tagline and being a real dick about it. Actually, this wasn't even the first time he'd do it. He would do it again later on in the show. Anything you want to say about this segment?
Nope.
All right, we get a recap of the Rollins Triple H confrontation last week, and we get an update about Rollins back in rehab in Alabama, and then we get Kevin Wilk, this guy that Triple H, talked up as like the best, though, talks about Seth's condition, and he really says, well, Seth is just the most incredible person I've ever been working with as it relates to rehab. Yeah, but doctor, is he going to make WrestleMania? I said he was incredible. I said he wasn't going to make Mania. Well, fuck me then. Says that he doesn't feel like Rollins will be back in Mania. In fact, and he got his Owen Hart voice on, I worry that if Seth would make Mania, we'd see him the night after WrestleMania because how bad the beating would be. Because, Triple H is God. So yeah, what did you think about this update?
You seriously need my opinion on this segment? Come on, let's move on.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just give my opinion, and if you do disagree, I mean, you have a voice, and you know how to use it better than Raw knows how to use any of its resources. So, yeah, we get that, and then we get what I know was your favorite match of the night.
Dude, I wish I could say that I hated this, but I didn't even watch this.
Charlotte versus Dana Brooke. And you know what? I don't even blame you. I took the notes. It was a relatively quick match that saw Dana dominate most of it, but I will say this, and again, I know this isn't news to anyone. This offense was awkward as hell. Like, you really didn't miss anything. It was like right hand.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Are you seriously trying to tell me that Dana Brooke isn't necessarily the best wrestler?
Oh, triple double gasp. I know, but yeah, no, she sucks. She sucks. There was a full Nelson.
Wow, John, tell us how you really feel.
There was a full Nelson in here that looked awkward. Her punches to me, well, not bad. I just didn't get it. Like, I get the story that they.
Well, that's an improvement. Her punches in NXT were garbage tier.
I mean, I think the story that we're trying to tell is, oh wow, the protege in Dana, she's got like all this power and she could be like a real force. And Charlotte's even a little intimidated, but Charlotte gets her big boot after a little bit, and that's it. Charlotte wins. Thank fucking Christ, actually. I don't think I ever rooted for Charlotte because I dreaded the prospect of Dana winning because, hey, does that mean that playtime is over and it's a fatal five-way at Mania? Fuck you. That didn't happen, thankfully, so I don't have to kill myself.
Honestly, I'm at the point that I would be okay with them just pulling Charlotte out of the Women's Championship match and giving her a one-on-one match with Dana on the pre-show.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Because after all, I mean, WrestleMania is the ultimate thrill ride. Yeah, some fucking ride.
I mean, we would still have to sit through it because WrestleMania is the one show a year that we actually do live react to the pre-show, but still.
Right. Next segment, we get Stephanie and Bailey. Bailey just says, Stephanie, I don't want to give you a hug. Yeah, I know, it shocks me too. I want to hug everyone. But, Stephanie, I used to look up to you. And now you use your power to hurt people. And, I think Stephanie has some kind of complex, like, where it's just like, what? Somebody thinks ill of me. I have to do something about this. Oh, yeah, it's called Triple H-itis. That's right.
Yeah, pretty much. They pretty much... I mean, I wonder if it's, like, sexually transmitted egoism.
I don't even know, brother. I really don't even know. But then Stephanie's like, well, Bailey, and she goes on and on about her having to, like, earn her championship, which, again, made me think, oh, my God, are we putting Bailey's feet towards the fire this close to Mania? That's exciting and could finally get her sympathy back.
And the great thing, too, is that Steph basically said, Bailey, because you don't like the way that I make decisions, I'm punishing you.
Exactly, because I'm no longer, and I haven't been for God knows how many years, Stephanie McMahon. I'm just simply the bitch. Yeah, like, this is her final fucking form, and it has been for God knows how long, and it's just our lot in life, people. I've accepted it now. It's our lot in life. Oh,
If I had to work for Stephanie McMahon, well, that condition really shouldn't even exist because I would never work for Stephanie McMahon.
yeah, I really became anti-capitalist when I saw like horrible working conditions in some area. And then I'm like, no, you know what? Those same conditions that turn me like sour on this whole thing, I'd still prefer them over working for Stephanie McMahon.
If
Because
this
fucking
Stephanie McMahon
Christ.
character was a boss in the real world, in any profession, she would be investigated and probably lose her job and probably go to jail.
And that would be the best live reactions you and I could ever do. The live stream footage of Stephanie being carried out, being sent to jail. Yeah, but no,
No, you can't do this to me.
And then the
I'm
final,
Stephanie McMahon.
and you laugh because my favorite thing is when villains say their own name.
Yep.
I'm Stephanie McMahon. You can't do this to me, bitch. That's why it's happening. Calm the fuck down. But more importantly, I love that little stabby stab thing she gets at the end. Oh, and Bailey, you should know. Nia Jax, she uses her power to hurt people. Oh, gee, Steph, I'd almost think that you were offended that Bailey wanted a safe and healthy working environment. I hate everything so much.
I mean,
Save
I don't
me,
think you can
someone.
expect a safe working environment given the actual business that they're in, but healthy, yes.
And Jarveris, I envy you. I envy you. Power where I live always goes out at the most inconvenient time. Nothing save me from this fucking shit.
See, and these are the situations that I'm actually kind of, in a way, glad that we do review Raw because people like Jarveris who miss Raw or chunks of Raw can just come to us and we'll fill you in on everything that happened and why it sucks.
And we can all cry together because God knows I need all the support I can get right now. But I say that, and we actually go from this to a segment that I genuinely liked, the highlight reel exposing the real Kevin Owens. Ashton, what did you think about this?
I mean, it was all right. I'm not really sure why you're so. Maybe you're just excited about it because it was like the best part of a horrible show. But still, like this, it was honestly Jericho just being Jericho. I mean, and Jericho's great, but he's not even going to be around after Mania now.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. I think I like this because I think this is still one of the best Raw feuds going into their 3/4 of Mania.
Is there seriously anything that's in competition?
I mean, for me personally, I'm still invested to a degree with Triple H, Seth Rollins, but I think that's more Rollins. But if we're talking about things where I'm mutually interested in both parties, this feud wins out for sure because I'm into what both guys are doing. I like this because I feel like it put more meat on the bone of this feud, looking at the relationship of Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, which goes back even longer than the stamp put on, on television when they formally teamed up. I like the line when Jericho showed a photo of Owens, like with a Jericho shirt and I think a Jericho poster in his room. So we had like Jericho memorabilia. He's a fan of Jericho, the fan of Jericho. He's marking out, man. I thought that was a good line. I'm pretty much saying like how Chris Jericho was kind of like this mentor and stuff to Owens. And then that all leads to Jericho pretty much saying, well, you're going to step in the ring with that guy that you idolize. You're going to step in the ring with that guy that, gave you that advice. And I want to see the face of Kevin Owens when my music hits. When you hear break the walls down, and he shows the face of shock that Owens had when that music hit at Fastlane. And he says that face is going to show itself again, at Mania. And that's the real Kevin Owens. So I really like Jericho's mic work here. I mean, thank fucking Christ for him and his ability to cut a promo and everything, because this was definitely one of the high points of this Raw, of which there were, very few.
I was going to say, I would argue the only high point of this Raw.
Yeah, really, because I would have liked to have said what Strowman was a part of, but that just ended up being another point of agitation. Then Joe comes out, and at first I actually kind of dug it because I'm like, wow, they're really committed to Joe being this monster. I remember they did this one time on like a late 90s episode of Raw with Kane, where he would come out like after every segment and just tombstone people. If they're going to have Joe just come out like for more than one segment and just beat people down, just makes him seem more credible. But nope.
Well, the whole thing is that Joe and Owens are like Triple H's puppets.
Exactly. Exactly. And we see that Joe was only a smokescreen because Owens attacks from behind, gets the pop-up powerbomb on Jericho, and then he destroys the list. And yeah, he takes even a piece of paper in his mouth, he shoves it in there, spits it back out. So Owens just completely desecrates the list. Jericho is just left lying prone and in pain. And that's kind of the final note on that. Do you have anything else you want to add regarding this?
No, I don't have anything else to add. Let's just move on. I think up next was this Perkins versus Kendrick.
Yes, it was. Very quick match that saw
Yeah.
Kendrick get the win after sliced bread. There was a potential ref bump there. Perkins almost collided in the ref, but he stopped it. I think Kendrick set up that situation, which I can appreciate the match because the whole thing is Kendrick's very intelligent, very shrewd, and that was certainly on display here. He then cuts like a brief promo, lesson number 7. Be careful where you drop stuff. Don't leave things lying around because he says that Tozawa isn't here tonight and Kendrick has his passport. I can also say that in all honesty, I enjoyed this. I think Kendrick is an underappreciated heel. I thought this was more of a colorful heel kind of antic. Oh, a guy took another guy's passport. It's different. I think it breaks up the monotony a little bit. I enjoyed Kendrick here. Nothing more I can say than that. Do you have anything to add?
Whoever wrote this particular, or not wrote, but whoever is writing this particular angle, this whole Kendrick Tozawa thing, that person needs a raise and they need to be promoted because this is an actual comprehensive feud that makes sense and is creative and actually feels customized and personalized to the people that are in it. It doesn't feel like your typical paint by numbers feud. This feud feels different. It feels like there's actual effort being put into it. And it honestly feels like this is probably the most interesting non-Owens Jericho feud on the card. And there's not even a championship involved.
No, I love that the premise is so simple. Kendrick, because he's full of himself, took it upon himself to decree, like, oh, I'm Tozawa's mentor. Tozawa spurns him, says, I don't even like you. And now Kendrick, and he says it in his own promo, I'm going to be his mentor by force. That to me is a fascinating narrative to go with, and it's still paying dividends. I think Kendrick is a delight. I think that WWE should be thankful that Kendrick found his way back to the WWE. And Tozawa, I mean, what a great first feud to have to really build up your babyface stock. I agree with everything you said, bro. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
I just really want to kind of emphasize that, like, as from what I understand, the writers in WWE, it's not like they all just get into a room and make the whole show from beginning to end. Like, there are different people working with different performers and different angles and stuff. And, like, whoever is in charge of this particular angle, Tozawa versus Kendrick, I just want to give you credit because you are doing your job better than pretty much everyone else that you are sitting at that creative meeting with.
Yeah, seriously. I'm going to double down on my co-worker commentary here, and I would also say that at least somebody knows that it's fucking game day soon. At least somebody knows that we're going to WrestleMania.
Well, and the sad part is the performers and the writer aren't even going to be rewarded because Kendrick Tozawa is not going to be a WrestleMania singles match.
No, it's not. And that's really shit. They're just going to get lumped in. Which, I mean, if they are going to do the ladder match with the cruiserweights, I mean, the clock's ticking. We got 2 weeks.
Well, no. See, I'm thinking it's just going to be Neville versus Aries. I don't think there's even going to be a ladder match. If I had to guess, I would say that there might be, like, another one of these schmaz, like 4-4 or, like, 5-on-5, all babyface team versus all heel team tag team matches involving cruiserweights in the Mania pre-show.
Right. Again, just so uninspired.
Or, I mean, maybe they will do a cruiserweight ladder match, but it'll be for number 1 contendership instead of the title.
Right. After this, we get a recap of the Reigns Shawn Michaels interaction from last week.
Which was
then
dumb.
we get a Reigns promo, and he essentially says that, with all due respect, the only time I think about The Undertaker is when I think about The Undertaker laying out on his back at WrestleMania. And he says he's going to teach Strowman not to mess with him tonight. What happens when you
and
mess
that this
with
is
Reigns.
my yard.
That's right. This is my yard. God, I so prefer it's Roman Reigns time. But beggars can't be choosers. After that, we get a video.
What makes you think we're beggars, brother?
Yeah, I know, right?
We don't need to be beggars anymore. Lucha Underground exists.
Exactly. Fuck you. But yeah, we get a video package first of the night building up Lesnar Goldberg, kind of just showing how all that came together. We then get, yeah, my sentiments exactly. We then get Cesaro and Stephanie Stephanie's like, oh, hey, you got to earn your spot again.
Like, what was the point of last week even existing?
What was the point of even this existing? What's the point of Raw existing? See how we can just keep asking questions on an infinite regress? So, yeah, you got to earn your spot again. Then we get this other thing that Stephanie did, Bayley versus Nia Jax. And oh, here's the thing. I forgot to mention when I was talking about that original segment that Stephanie made it no DQ. But you wouldn't know it with how underutilized the stipulation was.
Stipulation? Wait, there was a stipulation?
There was no DQ because remember how I was harping on how Nia got herself DQ'd last week? Well, Stephanie brings that up and she says to make sure that doesn't happen again, this is going to be no disqualification. But again, you wouldn't know it because I really didn't feel like that stipulation was tapped into.
But John, Nia slammed her up against the barricade. That wouldn't be legal in another match, except it would be. And that's literally the only thing they did on the outside of the ring.
Exactly. I mean, Nia introduced a chair, but Bayley immediately kicked it away. Now, maybe she kicked it into Nia's face. But, like, that was purely a preservation tactic, not necessarily like, oh, I'm on offense, let me utilize this stip to my advantage now. Like, it was underwhelming. And I don't know if it's because of a hierarchy, like, hey, Bayley, me and Charlotte are the only ones allowed to have stips and to make use of them because history, okay? But, yeah, this fucking happened. Nia wins after a Samoan drop, but I think we all lose here. And I think that's the really important thing to emphasize. So,
you know what, John? I got to tell you, you're not wrong.
And Nia points at the WrestleMania sign. And you know what? I have a whole new appreciation for people pointing at the WrestleMania sign, especially this season, because if they didn't point at the WrestleMania sign and the camera didn't focus upward on it, I would have no idea that we're on the road to WrestleMania. So
I know.
God, they exist to remind me.
That's the only real indicator these days.
I know. I'm so thankful. Thank you, Nia, for pointing at the sign. Now I know where we are, and it just makes me all the more depressed because it's just been awful.
Yeah.
Okay. We get a...
I wonder if they think that, like, someone's going to point at the WrestleMania sign, and people are going to be like, oh, my God. That means it's WrestleMania season. This show is so much better than I thought it was.
I think that's what they're hoping for. Either that, or they think their audience is an idiot. Wait a minute. She's pointing at the WrestleMania sign. So it's not Extreme Rules in 2 weeks? Get your fucking shit together, WWE. We get a Mae Young video package playing. Nobody cares. Triple H addresses...
Look, dude, I'm genuinely curious. When did March become Women's Appreciation Month or whatever it is?
In WWE, I feel like it's only been a thing this year, but generally speaking, I think that's been a thing for a while, like Women's History Month in March.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. I genuinely didn't know. And, like, I don't know. It's just weird to me that you're giving an entire gender a month to appreciate. Like, isn't that kind of reductive?
I mean, it's the same argument that Morgan Freeman makes for Black History Month.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I feel the same way about Black History Month, too. It's reductive. You're basically saying, like, it's almost oh shit, what's it called when black people get favored because they're black? What's that called? Action.
Affirmative action?
Yeah, it's like affirmative action in the sense that you're like, oh well, white people are celebrated all year round, but black people, you get a month all to yourselves. And it's the same thing with women. Like, oh, men are celebrated all year round, but women, you get a month all to yourselves. It's reductive as hell.
I know, dude. It's stupid. Mae Young gets highlighted. I don't care. She's dead. Just like I wish I was watching this shit. So don't think that.
You know who I really miss after watching an episode of Raw?
Who's that?
Renee Young.
Yeah.
She makes SmackDown better. She doesn't make SmackDown great. She is great, but SmackDown would be great without her. But it's just like that little thing that, like, her on the backstage interviews and then the talking smack. It's like, that's like one more thing that SmackDown has that makes it better than Raw.
Exactly. Because on Raw, the one woman we get to see constantly is Stephanie. Yippee-ki-yay. Okay, so we get Triple H addressing the Rollins update. I didn't hate this promo. It's whatever. He's like, oh, I'm disappointed. I was looking forward to fighting Rollins at Mania. And he pretty much goes from I'm disappointed to Rollins made the mistake of listening to the people and not listen to me. And I do like where he was going with it, because he said, what happened with Rollins was he got addicted to the cheering of the crowd. And my problem was, because Michael Cole's like, well, Hunter, if you could go back and do anything over, would you? And I mean, obviously, Triple H isn't going to have a moment of self-awareness and say, well, Michael, I really wish I wasn't so plagued by my own insecurities that I feel the need to betray everybody that ever cared about me. No, he's going to say, if anything, I made the path too easy for Seth.
Which is hilarious, because between Orton and Rollins being the golden boy of the Authority goes so far out of their way to screw their golden boys over.
Yeah, he literally told Rollins to his face when they were on good terms that, oh, you're the Cole that we're applying pressure so you become the Diamond, and then he fed him to Brock Lesnar.
Exactly. Yeah, let's see what you can do against Brock. Yeah, like that, like Triple H feeding Rollins to Lesnar is Triple H's idea of being too easy on him. Okay.
Yeah, and then he was like, and isn't it funny that the crutch, because he said he was Seth Rollins' crutch, took a crutch and beat him with it. That's next level, guys. And then pretty much we get around to, there's always a way to make this match happen. And I find it hilarious that he says that the second after he gives Michael Cole comp tickets to give to Rollins to go to Mania. He's like, wait. I don't want to waste those tickets. I could probably give them to my children's friends or something so that they can make friends to their material wealth. Instead, I'm going to offer Rollins, if he shows up next week, he can sign an agreement and we'll have an unsanctioned match at Mania. So, Seth, prove it to them, who are cheering for Seth, and now he's making it seem like, oh, prove it to them, Seth, if you really care about them. Are you Seth freaking Rollins? Or are you a friggin' coward? Man, fuck you. And then Triple H drops the mic and he leaves. Again, not a bad promo, but I miss Seth dearly. I actually felt happiness, which I didn't think I was permitted to feel anymore. Watching this show last week when he returned, and then when he was lying on a crippled heap, I was just like, wow, that's really a metaphor for any hope that I have whenever I go into this show. So it'll be great to see Seth next week. Maybe he'll get the upper hand, but oh wait, Authority. That's right. Anything you want to say about Triple H's promo?
Honestly, I think it's kind of funny. Whenever these storylines happen where there's, and not even necessarily kayfabe storylines, because this happens in like real like reports from backstage too. Whenever somebody gets the injury prone label.
Yeah.
Because look at the guy delivering these lines right now. Or, I'm sorry, let's refer to him from here on out as Triple Trach.
Yeah. It got crushed.
Is it the trachea or is it the quad? Or is it the pec? I'm sorry, I forget. You've torn a lot of things in your life.
He really has. Oh my god. And poor Rollins only gets injured because of freak accidents both times, because the Joe thing was also just fucking weird.
Dude, all wrestling injuries are freak accidents.
I mean, that is true. That is true.
That's the point. Like, Triple H's are freak accidents too. So was Rollins. Look at Neville. Neville broke his freaking ankle trying to slide between Chris Jericho's legs.
Orton injured himself one time doing his own taunt.
Orton tore his freaking rotator cuff taking the trash out.
Yeah.
What the hell? Orton is another great example of a golden boy who is just as injury prone as everyone else, but doesn't have that label. Cena's another one. Didn't Cena miss WrestleMania last year with an injury? Yes, he did. Oh no, wait, he showed up because The Rock.
Well, see, the thing with Orton, Ashton, is because Triple H apparently can't sire a son. Randy Orton is the closest thing he has to it.
Well, I gotta give you that one, but still.
No, I mean, brother, in all seriousness, I get where you're coming from.
Didn't I feel like Batista might have been like the least injury-prone top star of the last decade?
Which, that's amazing, because he got his push when he was so old and should have been really injury-prone.
Did he ever go out with injury? He might have had one.
He did. He had one major injury, and that's where he had to vacate his first world title run. It ended because of injury. And I don't know if he ever got injured again after that. I'm assuming he might have gotten one other injury. But yeah, he wasn't plagued with injuries. He only got injured 1 or 2 times from what I recollect. Still beats Triple H's record by a good bit. And Chris Jericho never gets injured. So what the hell, Honor? Yeah, what's your excuse? But yeah, man, I get what you're saying. I think the label's horse shit.
I mean, even Roman was literally injured like 2 years in a row leading up to him being pushed to the moon.
Yeah, but it's okay, though, because he kept us updated via satellite. And we sent him all those get well wishes because he's
I'm gonna cock my fist and make it rain at the Royal Rumble.
God.
I'm officially declaring myself the first entrant in the Royal Rumble. Oh, he botched a pre-tape. How do you botch a pre-tape?
Because I don't work on anybody else's time but my time. But regardless, our time is also precious. Triple H did a thing. We talked about him doing a thing. Move on.
I love too that Triple H blames the crowd on Mick Foley as well.
Yeah, it was your fault. You did, bitch. I'm not the reason he got old. Don't you point that fucking finger at me. I deserve blame for a lot of shit. I am not taking responsibility for that. No.
No.
2-on-4 handicap match. This match made me want to die.
This match. Dude, how can you even call it a handicap match? Like, I know that's what it was supposed to be going into it, but let's be real. This was not a handicap match at all.
Dude, I can't keep it together anymore. I thought we were going to make it to the review where I could just let out that insane laugh. You know, that laugh when you finally can't suppress the psychotic break anymore? But I can't, man. This is the dumbest fucking shit. Oh, we're getting ready for this match. Oh, except wait, we're not getting ready for this match because we're turning on you. Wait, what? And then Enzo and Cass get taken out. We're going to do this on our own. But oh, wait, Enzo and Cass have recovered and they're mad? What? And then Gallows gets isolated. Dun, 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 dun. Throw kick, 3 count. We keep our WrestleMania shot. Yay! This was all completely meaningless. My existence when I dedicate 3 hours of it actually over because it never stops at 11. At least SmackDown's prompt. Jesus Christ! But no.
I mean, to be fair, Raw buys 3.25 hours, and it's not like they just get gifted that extra quarter hour. They actually have to pay for that.
I'm glad they do. I'm glad they feel the sting, and I hope every time they watch their shitty-ass product, they look in the mirror, they look at their wallet, they got a little bit emptier, and they ask themselves, was it worth it? And then they shower for 5 hours.
So, like, every time we want to talk about how Raw is 50% longer than SmackDown, it's really 62.5% longer than SmackDown.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty much Sheamus and Cesaro, their double team finish is kind of like a modified heart attack, except it's a bro kick, which admittedly I like. I'm not going to shit on that. But again,
dude, this is like the ultimate example of like the throwback to, I think it was TLC last year. The dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Sheamus!
Because, dude, I mean, you want to talk about, I mean, you know, CM Punk to Cole Cabana. Oh, well, Ryback, are you just dumb as fuck? I'm dumb as fuck. Well, apparently, Ryback, you're in great company, bud, because the Raw Tag Team Champions are officially dumb as fuck. Because
hashtag it, people. Hashtag it.
Hashtag dumb as fuck. But yeah, because after they get beat, what? Enzo and Cass aren't done? It's almost like they were offended being aggressed upon for no reason. And then they hit everybody's favorite finisher name, the Bada Boom Shakalaka. I die. I die a little inside every time I.
You know, I gotta tell you, the Bada Boom Shakalaka, not only is that name dumb, and we pointed that out day one when they decided to call it that, but the finisher has been getting worse and worse and worse. And not even because, like, they're executing it more poorly each time. It's getting worse and worse and worse because you're realizing, like, oh, this finisher literally just consists of a 185-pound man jumping off the top rope and doing a freaking regular-ass splash on a guy. Like, Cass contributes nothing to this move whatsoever. He doesn't actually make Enzo fly higher. He just like stands there for balance so that Enzo doesn't fall on his face.
It's like, I dropped my weight on this guy, and I helped. No, you didn't. You didn't do anything.
I was your crutch, which is how I work in the ring, too.
This show made me so miserable.
I feel like if a newcomer would be to watch this tag team match, they would have been like, if they were like if somebody who's never watched wrestling before would watch an Enzo and Cass match where they win with that move, and they had to take notes, their notes on the finish would be, and then Enzo jumped off the top rope. Cass was there too, but I'm not sure why.
Like, if you really wanted Cass to be a part of, why don't you just have Enzo stand
on the
his
shoulders
or something?
Yeah, that'd be so much better.
That'd be so much better. The tagline for every Monday Night Raw since God knows when.
I mean, to be fair, if you really wanted to get kind of daring with it, you could even have Cass sit on the top rope and have Enzo stand on his shoulders from there.
Yeah, anything's better than I helped, because you didn't.
I love the delivery, though. I helped.
Next, we get the New Day hyping up.
And you know what's really sad, too, is that that's how Cass would say it, too, because he's so damn dopey.
I know. Go, which way did he go, George? Shut up.
Oh, hey, Cass, what are you doing standing next to Enzo? Helping. What do you mean?
Next, we get New Day hyping up Mania, and kudos to the New Day for owning their shit when it's not even their shit, but it's Xavier's.
They handled this with such grace. I love it.
Which is more than I can say about any Vince McMahon temper tantrum ever. What? She's with somebody that she's happy with. Break them up immediately. I hate it.
Dude, did you hear the report about like the Vince Stephanie argument that happened backstage regarding Paige?
Oh no, didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, Vince wants to fire her immediately. Stephanie is like this overly manipulative cuntbag who thinks, oh, well, no, if we fire her now, she'll work as a wrestler and make money because of all of this hype, because she has some buzz about her. So let's just keep her off Raw until her contract expires and then quietly let her walk away.
You're terrible people. And I would say that you're bad and you should feel bad, but we both know you're never going to do the second half. So, I mean, I don't even know how to finish the statement because I could finish it a variety of ways, but I'm going to try and be
I mean, at the end of the day, though, I think it's safe to say, I mean, if it wasn't already with the Alberto Del Rio stuff, Paige's career in WWE is over.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And they're literally blaming her for the leaks.
Which is horrible, and again, that's a whole other rant I could go on that I'm going to restrain myself to because we're here to.
I mean, not only is that horrible because, like, what's it called? Revenge porn. That feels like what this is.
Yeah. And
on top of that, it's also like to a degree slut shaming, which is also pretty terrible.
On Women's History Month, no less.
Yes, Women's History. Guys, we need to spend this month honoring women, but not Paige because she's a slut.
Exactly. You know what? Fuck you guys. And I've had my criticisms of Paige in the past, but this isn't anything that warrants criticism from me. It's a sad fucking thing that happened. Fuck that it happened, okay? It's sex. Right? That's all it fucking is. We all fucking do it. Get over yourselves. I mean, Vince prided himself on being a genetic jackhammer and having storylines where he had women crawl around in the ring like a dog. And yet this embarrasses you, Vince? Fuck you so hard. But regardless...
Well, I don't think it embarrasses Vince so much as Vince wants to do it because it should embarrass the company in his eyes.
Yeah, you're a fucking embarrassment, Vince, to the company. Jesus. So New Day is just like, hey, Xavier, is there anything you want to tell us about? And Xavier goes right into the Mania pitch. So you know what? Good for you guys. Good for you guys just making a subtle joke for owning it. Don't let it get you down. I'd say the same to Paige. I just wish I knew what her future was going to be. They talk about what their favorite matches are going to be. And that's pretty much it. Is there anything you want to add to this?
No.
Okay, Austin Aries versus Tony Nese. I honestly really didn't care. It was a solid back-and-forth match, but we all knew that Aries was going to win. And Corey Graves has taken to calling it the Discus 5 arm, so I did it the same courtesy in my notes. Aries and Neville go back and forth on the mic, but Aries gets the last word, pretty much telling Neville that he's going to end the facade of Neville being the king of the cruiserweights and take the title at Mania. Anything you want to say about this match?
I really don't think so. This is just, I've spoken my piece about why I'm not an Austin Aries fan before. I feel like he is booked way too strong for someone his size, and that for somebody to be like this cocky, arrogant, borderline dominant heel, they should at least be big. And he's like 5'8", 175, and really somebody that small. Even relative to the other cruiserweights, he's small. He's one of the smallest cruiserweights. Even, like compared to Tony Nese, he's a freaking like mini me. Like Nese,
Right.
Nese should be the heel in this situation. Like Nese should be like the monster that Aries has to overcome. But of course, Aries has like this attitude where like I'm the best wrestler, so you need to let me get my shit in, and it's whatever. So I'm just gonna like opt out of commenting on Aries matches because that's my only real commentary I ever want to add.
Hey, bro, that's fair enough, and I'm glad you made that known because it saves everybody a bunch of time. We go from that to an Emma video. Emma, me, Jackie, anybody with a pulse, we all miss you. Come back to my television, please. Save me from this fucking revolving door of just Charlotte.
No,
and
dude,
Bayley.
I'm at the point now that I want her to get released. I want her out of the company so that she can do what she wants. Let her go to Lucha Underground. Let her go to freaking Ring of Honor and wrestle with Women of Honor for all I care. Let her go to New Japan. Let her go to Stardom. Like, let her go to Shine. I don't care. Let her do what she wants. She's basically being held hostage at this point.
Apparently, her and Summer met at the Performance Center today. Maybe they're collaborating on something. Summer's another person I'd like to see more of because anything you've ever given her, she's slayed.
Well, yeah, and Summer, I mean, I doubt that'll happen now because Summer was another victim of leaks.
Oh, was she? Because I mean,
the thing with Summer is I don't think that there was anything that involved any nudity and her face in the same picture. So she can probably just argue like, "Oh, you can't prove that's me,"
Right.
Whereas with Paige, like, there's no debate there. Like, she's literally talking into a camera.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, we do get the Emma video. We get a Strowman interview. I actually know before that we get more hype for Lesnar Goldberg, but nobody cares. Then we get our Strowman interview.
Dude, I love that I'm not the only one that's 100% done with everything involving Goldberg and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, dude, I don't mean to piss anybody off with what seems like my nonchalant attitude. It's just I'm over it. Like, I'm really over this product. They clearly don't care. 2 weeks before WrestleMania, and this is the dog shit you give us. Yeah, it's Goldberg Lesnar. It's a thing. It's happening. Everybody jerk yourselves to sleep because, get excited. For what? For a 10-minute match at best? It's probably going to fucking suck. No thanks. So we get a Strowman interview. I even put in my notes, I adore Strowman, man. He's so good. And now he's somebody that I think I always knew one day we'd have this conversation. I just didn't want it to be this soon because already I can see the writing on the wall and Strowman is slowly like losing that stock and I really didn't want it to happen. But he says, Undertaker wants to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He's going to have to scrape Roman off the floor when I'm done with him. So, great delivery by Strowman. He's got a charisma about him, a humor about him. Like, he's the closest thing that WWE has to me to, like, Disney's Gaston. Like, he's that big kind of brute, but with a sense of humor and charisma that I can get behind. I fucking love Strowman. He's great. I adore him. We go from that to the main event. What's there to fucking say? What I hated about this so much is no matter what you did, you made Roman look like the winner because before Taker's interruption, Roman got the Superman punches. It was very clear he was going to hit the spear because it even took Roman, even after Taker's appearance, a while to get back up to his feet. So you made no bones, no ambiguity that Roman was superior here. And then you have Taker chokeslam Strowman. What?
Why?
I was asking the same because and this would have been cool. So I'm not even saying like, oh, he didn't even do this and that's a positive. But Strowman didn't even badmouth Taker, left the ring to Taker when he first showed up. Didn't talk any trash or anything. And Taker's like, well, he's a body, so I'm going to choke slam him. Why? why Braun Strowman, who you should be protecting and maintaining that mystique, I've now seen him get bitched out by Roman Reigns and Undertaker, and what that does, and I don't know if this will make any sense to anybody, but honestly, I'm just so angry and just spent. I hate that this happens to Braun, because when you look at a guy like that, booking-wise and appearance-wise, you should feel like he has no limitations. Like, that guy, if he wanted to, flexing his pinky muscle, should take over the goddamn world. But now when you've bitched him out to Roman and Taker, I very clearly see his limitations, which to me takes away the mystique. You've put limits on this man, and now I no longer see him as a monster. I just see him as a very impressive human being.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Way to fucking go, WWE. Roman spears Taker, but wait! Taker sits up. Is Roman gonna have the challenge of his life on the ultimate thrill ride WrestleMania?
Man, you shouldn't be asking if Roman's going to be challenged. You should be asking how much of a challenge Undertaker has.
Yeah, exactly. Really, that's it. I know you did it in Roman voice because he pretty much said the same thing in the Michaels promo, but that's probably what creative's thinking too. Oh, well, they think Roman's struggling. No, we don't. Actually, I've never thought that. In fact, the only interest I could have had is if Roman had his swagger up, but instead he prefaces everything, well, with all due respect, if I may. Fucking hell, Jesus. Do you have anything to say about this?
I don't even know what I would say, dude. Because, like, I feel like they bitched Strowman out so bad here.
They did.
Because, like,
yeah.
Because, like, the thing is, freaking Taker's music hit as Roman was about to hit a spear on Braun. And then, like, oh, Taker's out. He's going to save Braun, right? And then he attacks Braun and lays him out. Like, the 56-year-old man makes Braun Strowman look like a bitch. And then he gets taken out by Roman. So, really, at the end of this segment, it's Roman 1, Taker 2, Braun, well, really, pile of shit 3. Braun at the bottom of the top pile.
Right. Well, yeah, that's it, guys. That was Raw. That was fucking Raw. The stare down of a lifetime before the ultimate thrill ride.
And that's the other thing too that I really wanted to kind of say, even in like our Heat of the Night segment. So I'm really late. It really felt like this whole show was built around Stephanie McMahon and Roman Reigns.
Yes. 2 acts, one that should never be a focus because she's an authority figure that will never give her heat to anybody. And when she does, it's on a pet project that's already known to be a failure.
Yep.
And another guy that could be fucking gangbusters, but you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And even when it seems like you're like, okay, we'll give it a chance, you can't even fully commit, and instead we get passive-aggressive Roman Reigns. Because it's my yard, but only if you're cool with it, because I totally respect you. Fuck you. I am so done with all of this. You sound like you're done with this, so let's mercifully get to our next segment, high spots and low shots. And I've never been more tempted to make the low shot my life for having to watch this crap, but I didn't. Low shot, you could really, I can't remember the last time I've been this salty on a TWitWoW, but man, I can't even hide it anymore. I know we're not going to be reviewing this show soon, so why not? I'm just letting it all hang out. My low shot's right. Bailey, because you get treated like shit, and then you could have had the chance to keep your title match a triple threat, but you're not as bad as the tag team champions, who I don't even know why I didn't make them my low shot, but fuck it, Bailey. You got chosen. You drew the short straw. You lost to Nia. You still look like, oh, does she really deserve to be champion? And just everything in your life is awful. And on that point, I could almost sympathize if Raw was the entirety of my life, which thank fuck it is not. So, Bailey, you are my low shot. Who's your low shot?
Well, I mean, just for you, I'll make my honorary low shot Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, okay.
And then my actual low shot, as I mentioned earlier on in the show, is Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you know a Raw is bad when I can't even delight in you making Sami Zayn a low shot, because I don't know if that's ever happened. Like, you're the big Sami Zayn fan, and I can't even celebrate, like, yes, Olympus has fallen. No, it's sad. It's really sad. Okay, Honorary high spot because I'm in a great mood. Yeah, Jarveris, I'll make you my honorary high spot because he had a power outage. He was spared a portion of this show. You keep on living, Jarveris. You survive, you magnificent bastard. But my real high spot, because I'm so lazy, like Raw's writing team, Nia Jax. Because even though your own ineptitude cost you a chance at WrestleMania last week, you got your chance at redemption because you're a babyface, except you're not. Nia Jax is going to WrestleMania for the Fatal 4-Way on the Ultimate Thrill Ride. I really hate that tagline, I'm sorry. And she points to the WrestleMania sign because she knows she's not like most girls, because she's rocking that Samoan privilege.
Samoan privilege?
Yeah.
And nepotism privilege.
Exactly, because I know you got my back, Steph. Oh, you know it's third generation.
I mean, here's the thing. Roman has only Samoan privilege, but he's a relatively talented performer. So he's being overpushed, but it's just barely overpushed. Nia has the talent of like a third grade fat girl, and she's getting pushed like she's the main event because she's got the double down nepotism and Samoan privilege. Like her skill level is like a 3, and she's being pushed to like an 8. Roman's skill level is like a 7.5, 8, and he's being pushed to like a 9.5, 10.
Exactly. So yeah, you already went over your high spot and low shot.
I didn't say anything about my high spot.
Oh yeah, no, you only covered your low, because that's right. Your honorary low shot was the club, and then you said your actual low shot was Sami Zayn. So who is your high spot?
Yeah, man. Who was your high spot again? I forget. Nia, right? Okay, then yeah. My high spot is Triple H because he got everything tonight. Sami Zayn lost to Samoa Joe. Kevin Owens assaulted Chris Jericho. He found out from the doctors that they don't expect Seth Rollins to show up at Mania, and if they do, or if he does, they basically put Triple H over by saying we're expecting to see Seth the following night. And he basically punked out Mick Foley, Seth Rollins, and the audience all in one promo. Triple H had the best night that he's had in a long time tonight.
Oh my god, yeah, I'll tell you, man, the best hand job he could ever get, because he was just like, yeah, everything happened.
It's not a hand job if you're doing it to yourself. That's just masturbation, and that's what Triple H does for a living.
You're so right. God, do you ever think, like, after he's just laying in a puddle of his own satisfaction, he still cries because he can't sire a son? But my legacy,
I wonder if after he ejaculates from jerking off, he says, you know, Steph, that could have been the one.
If you weren't going to say it, I was going to, yes.
I know you weren't in the mood tonight, but baby, I got a feeling, and that might have been it. We might have just poured our future son on the floor, and it's just over.
And then he calls Randy really late at night. Randy, are you there? Hunter, what is it? Randy, you know you're my only son, right? I know, Hunter. I know. You're my only son. That's why you got the main event at Mania. I love you. Always, Randy. I know, Hunter. I love you, too. It's 4 o'clock.
He comes up with like a really lame speech, like, you know, Randy, a lot of the time, sons, they're just kind of random. They're just handed to people. They don't really expect them. But, Randy, you're special because I chose you.
I know, Hunter. Look, I got to take my actual kids to school. That's fine, Randy. That's fine.
I know. Yeah, like, you're my actual kid, too, Randy. I know.
Okay, mercifully, our final segment, Raw Request. Honestly, and I'm not even bullshitting, I didn't even get to write a Raw Request in my notes, so I gotta think of one on the top of my head. You know, here's something. Don't make your heels so fucking stupid. And
that's a great Raw Request, yes.
Yeah, the two biggest examples, again, Nia, but oh, wait, I thought that whoever imposes their will the most wins. There are rules. Bitch, adhere to them. You're lucky there's a heel authority figure. And of course, the biggest example, the club. I love you guys. I love your work in New Japan. Do not make me hate you for unjustified reasons, because if anything can do it, it's Raw's writing. Don't let that happen, okay? Go in there. Don't be a Booker T. Don't pussyfoot. Take what you're worth, man. I'm begging you people. You're booked like idiots. Oh, God, you're the dumbest fucking champions I've ever seen in my life. Ever. And Eugene Dinsmore was a former tag team champion. His gimmick was literally being just mentally challenged, and you still beat him in spades. Do better. I'm begging you, do better.
Your tearful, your tear-ridden plea.
What's your Raw request?
Oh man, my Raw request is actually a little bit more thought out than just do better, believe it or not. My Raw request, and this really does harken back to the Tozawa Kendrick feud. My Raw request is to make feuds feel not just more personal in the sense that, like, oh, you had sex with my wife, now you made it personal, but like literally personalized in the sense that the feud actually fits the characters involved rather than just having this paint by numbers. Okay, well, the bad guy beats the good guy by cheating, and then the good guy proves that he's better than the bad guy, but then the bad guy does something really mean and beats up the good guy, but then the good guy costs the bad guy a match that he should have won. Like, it is the most paint by numbers garbage, and it's been going on for years, and there's no creativity in it at all. But Tozawa Kendrick, there are some of those paint by numbers elements. I know that Kendrick has cost Tozawa a match by interfering or distracting, I guess I should say. And there have also been instances where Kendrick has attacked Tozawa after a match. But everything feels so much more personalized and custom to the individuals that are actually feuding that I forget about the generic stuff because it allows me to forget about the generic stuff because it doesn't force me to be this jaded critic and just look at it and be like, oh, well, yeah, but that happened here and this happened there. And I've seen that before in this other feud and like all that stuff. I'm just like, you know what? This is creative. This is different. There is something about this feud that draws me in that I haven't seen before, that is different. And I want more of that. So my simple Raw request is to just try and treat every feud like its own separate entity rather than treating them all like the same freaking thing.
As per usual, brother, I wouldn't even be able to do justice to your articulations of matters even if I tried. So on that note, are there any concluding remarks you have for this show?
No, I tell you what I have to say about this show. Thank Christ for SmackDown.
Yeah. And my final thoughts on the show are pretty much what I echoed at the beginning. You know, it's funny that you've got your superstars on anti-smoking campaigns because, man, do you make me want to fucking light up watching your bullshit. With that said, this has been Raw, mercifully. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Like the video, by the way, if you haven't already. We've got 13 watching right now as we wrap things up. Only 9 likes, so if you have not liked the video yet, please do so on your way out. It helps us become the top search result for Raw reviews on YouTube. As far as all of our media and platforms, you can find everything that we're associated with in the description box. So please give that a look. We have everything from Twitters to a t-shirt store, you know, a Teespring store really with all kinds of merch, and a Patreon. So just look at everything. You'll find it all there. As far as content plugs, this is how the week is looking. We just did our Raw review, so we got over the hump. Now it's the really good shit because tomorrow we have SmackDown live reactions. Of course, those begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can join us as we give live reactions for the whole SmackDown Live. Wednesday is our Lucha Rewatch. We go to record at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We cover 2 episodes. So this week, if I'm not mistaken, it should be episodes 5 and 6 that we are covering this
Correct.
week. Yes, you're going to want to join us for that. Again, that is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And then also that same night, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, we are still doing our NXT reviews because we're covering all the NXTs leading up to TakeOver Orlando. So NXT reviews are also going to be happening. Thursday, we have got WrestleMania 20 that we're doing. I think that was another Patreon request from Jarveris. Ashton, the only thing I have to ask you is, are we doing the New Japan Cup Finals this week or is that next week? Where does
we are live reacting to the New Japan Cup Finals on Thursday.
Okay, so that's also Thursday then. So we've got Well, I thought this upcoming Thursday, didn't we have a WrestleMania 20 review from Patreon, or no?
No, that's Sunday, not Thursday.
Okay, that's Sunday. Okay, well, still, I mean, I'm just glad that we got it all in the same week. So Thursday, then, disregard what I said, guys. Thursday is going to be New Japan Cup Finals live reactions. What time can they join us for that, Ashton?
On Thursday?
Yes.
3?
3, all right, 3 p.m. Eastern time, same as Lucha Rewatch then. That's Thursday. Friday, I don't think we have anything, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And Saturday is free. Sunday, then, you heard it here from my coordinating commentary, will be our WrestleMania 20.
Sunday is the beginning of a 10-day streak of content. So we'll talk about that. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are putting content out every single one of those days.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts, guys. That's the real thrill ride, is all the content you're going to be getting from TWitWoW.
11 straight days of TWitWoW content, with some of those days having multiple content bits in the day.
I mean, prepare your buttholes, people, because it is going to be an experience for sure. 11 straight days of TWitWoW content. Your subscription box.
Gonna need you to shove it way up your butthole, Morty. Way up there.
Yeah, your subscription box is going to get all the stuffing in that muffin, if you get what I'm saying. So 11 days straight of TWitWoW content. So yeah, Sunday is going to be the WrestleMania 20 review. Thursday will be the New Japan Cup Finals. I just want to clarify all that. I know I misspoke earlier. I apologize. The one last really kind of out there plug I want to give, of course, is Q&A. It is now the 21st because it's after midnight while we're going off the air. 10 days, people. And we can 10, Ty Dillinger doing the countdown until Q&A. This is Q&A number 9. The cap is 4 questions. You can divvy them up however you want. All 4 to me, all 4 to Ashton, or what we really like is all 4 to both. You get to pick 2 brains for the price of 1 question. And you can submit those questions through any medium. A YouTube comment on a video where you can leave comments. You can tweet at us. I've got a pinned tweet on my Twitter specifically for Q&A questions, so I have them all nice and tidy. Or you can DM me. Slide in my DMs. I won't mind. You can visit the TWitWoW Facebook page. Leave a like, while you're there. And you can PM us there. I know certain people really like that method. So you have a multitude of avenues with which to exercise. There should be no reason why you can't participate in Q&A, especially because every chance I get, I do notify you guys of it. So keep it coming with those questions if you haven't yet. We love seeing what you guys are thinking about for that particular month. So that's just the last thing I want to plug. With that said, guys, we'll see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live reactions. And until then, tune in and peace out.